Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, and here we are at the end of what I suppose is like a Super Saturday bonus round, except it was on a Sunday, but still. Yesterday, 4 songs were revealed for Eurovision, and the 4th of those came to us from Lithuania by way of one of Europe's biggest national final processes, I think, in terms of duration anyway. And the winner of that this year is Miss Ieva Zasimauskaitė and the song When We're Old, which is in English. I was told that there's some Lithuanian in there somewhere, but there wasn't in the studio version that I heard, so I don't know if that's true. Music and lyrics by Vytautas Bikus. I'm sorry, I'm phenomenally bad at speaking Lithuanian because I think, in my experience, that's the hardest language in Europe, but I say that as someone who's really good at speaking languages in general. I'm sorry, I've probably offended about 50 billion different people, so let's just move on with the review, shall we? So, first impressions then about Lithuania. Well now. After Lithuania's recent offerings, I really had no idea what to expect this year, and yet still this somehow completely blindsided me. What we have here is a cute, charming, lovely song with a sweet, wholesome story presented in a very polished way indeed. I've been assaulted and beaten upside the head with raw, unadulterated feels. But then again, as I pointed out in my review of Ireland's song, I do have a massive weakness for certain types of emotional story, and this definitely ticks that box for me. Not to go on too much of a personal tangent, but the type of relationship that this song is about is exactly the sort of relationship I want for myself in the grand scheme of things. To fall in love with someone so profoundly, and to be loved by someone in exactly the same way, with such pure and innocent intentions, with a long-term goal of just growing old together because you'd never get tired of each other's company. That's so sweet, and it's not mentioned enough nowadays where, we live in a world of one-night stands and marriages that last about 10 seconds before people get divorced, and that sort of thing isn't ever addressed, least of all in pop music. So, did I get a bit too personal there? Well, let's just get on with what you might like about this song then. Well, to start things off, does it even need saying? This song is so pure and so sweet and so wholesome, and I love it. If you know me well enough, then you'll know that I have the biggest weakness for cute things. Like, Spain's song this year is a good example of that as well, and this song plays right into that weakness of mine. If you're like me, and you have a soft spot for being in love with the idea of being in love, then this is absolutely the song for you. And I dare say that Ieva's voice, as well, suits the song and the story right down to the ground. She sings gently and softly, but still in a compelling way, and it really sounds like she believes in every note and every word that she's singing. I don't know if she truly does feel this way about relationships in general, but just based on her performance, I could absolutely believe it if you told me that she does, and being that kind of convincing is absolutely vital in a song as emotionally delicate as this. And I must praise the composition as well. I don't mean to insult Lithuania's usual music scene when I praise how polished this song is, because I know that Lithuania is capable of this standard of music anyway. There's an artist from Lithuania, and I don't know how to pronounce her name, Greta something, Gajan, that, and I think she said that she isn't interested in doing Eurovision, but she's living proof that Lithuania is capable of doing really polished, really competitive music, and so is Ieva. So I bring this up just because it's been a while since we've had something as internationally recognisable as this, just since Fused Mark was so esoteric and Donny Montel was for a different audience entirely, and Vilja was just, well, also esoteric. So by process of elimination, this kind of reminds me of 2015, and it serves as proof that Lithuanian people know how to love. And another note about the composition as well, it's just the right balance of simple and delicate to effectively reflect the message of the song, and built up enough to retain interest from the audience. So it's not so undersold that you wouldn't give it a second look, but it's also not so overproduced that the message becomes diluted or trivialized. It's a tough balance to strike, but Lithuania has absolutely nailed it this year. But, of course, that doesn't mean you're absolutely obliged to enjoy this song, so let's consider why you might not like this one quite so much. Well, Admittedly, I do find the rhyme scheme of this one to be a bit on the hasty side. I've mentioned in past reviews how I'm not especially fond of when songs are a bit too eager to rush to the word that rhymes with the lyric that they just sang, and this song does have that kind of haste to it in my experience. It's not especially distracting here, there are songs that do it a lot worse, but it is still pronounced enough that it sticks out to me, that she'll say a line and then immediately follow up with a line that rhymes with it. But that is totally a me thing, that's just not how I write songs, but clearly this is how other people do, so it's not really my place to judge. Slightly less of a me thing though, is the idea that because of the song's delicate nature, it might not be impressive enough to grab your attention and hold it there for the full 3 minutes, so you might not feel as engaged as you could be, and thus end up missing out on the song's utterly precious message. In that instance, your mileage may vary, but I do admit, as far as I can tell, this is the sort of song where you get out of it as much enjoyment as you put in. But in this case, because of the aforementioned delicateness of the presentation, you have to be the one to make the first move here. The song asks politely that you invest your attention into it, but that's all. You have to consciously choose, okay, I'll give this song a chance, and only then will you get the desired effect, you'll get the desired amount of enjoyment back out of it. So it is worth it, but it doesn't do much to convince you of that just from the outset. Now that may sound like a weird explanation, but it does make a surprising amount of sense, trust me, or it does to me anyway. This is like the opposite of Vilja Matajunaita's song from 2014. It doesn't say, hey, look, attention, pay attention to me, because that's literally what that song was about. This is, it'll politely ask, but it won't demand. And so now, let's see if I can't distill my thoughts into a number on this colourful little scale of mine. I think, personally, I'll give this a 10. I'd like to think that I'm living proof that this is a you get out what you put in kind of song, because I fell head over heels in love with the story and the message, because this is the sort of thing that I highly value in interpersonal relationships, so the song really, really speaks to me. Of course, it helps that Ieva sings it so convincingly as well. There's a gentleness to her voice that makes it sound extra sincere, like she's definitely, for really, an advocate of this way of thinking, and it makes me feel vindicated for being so in love with love by myself. But she still sings with enough conviction that the song is able to be taken seriously. So she's gentle, but not enough that you can just forget about her. So bravo Lithuania, you got me right in the feels again. Well done. But on the technical side, I'll try to get my thoughts under control in the form of giving this song an 8. The lyrics are endearing, the message is lovely, and on the uncommon side, it's just that I have concerns over whether the rest of Europe will be willing to give this song the fair chance it deserves, especially considering that it's in the bloodbath that is semi-final 1. There are only so many ways I can assure you that it's worthwhile to give this song that fair shot, and I can't be there on stage in Lisbon to say to the audience, listen to this song and enjoy it, you won't regret it, I promise, much as I'd like to. And besides, this kind of emotional movement just really isn't for everyone, so some people won't take to this song anyway, but I mean, that's fine. There isn't really much you ever can do about that, but that is still fine. Opinions. So what does this mean for Lithuania as a whole then? I'd call it a modest step up, to be honest. While I do still have not very much patience for the Lithuanian selection format, and how long it takes to get through and how many weeks it lasts and how it's the same songs for every couple of weeks, it does seem to have a regular pattern of sometimes working and sometimes not at Eurovision, and the system hasn't changed at all for this year, or if it has, it's basically the same. There haven't been any massive shake-ups in terms of changing the format. However, the resulting song that's been chosen by it is much more marketable and much more accessible to the rest of Europe. It sounds more polished as well, just because Fusedmark's song sounded a bit more artificial, and also this is just less esoteric than that. Besides that, it also holds a lot of promise for a captivating and meaningful live performance, which Reign of Revolution wasn't really able to provide just by way of its choice of genre. In the name of public reception, this bodes well for the Baltic nation. But will it qualify? I want this song to get the reception it deserves, I really do. But somehow I don't see it happening, and through no fault of Ieva's own. If the cards had been dealt differently, if the semi-final had been configured differently, this might have stood an easy shot at the final for its beauty and simplicity and sincerity. But as it currently stands, semi-final 1 is the larger of the two in terms of running order, so there are more countries that are going to fall by the wayside, there will be more casualties, and there are a lot of strong songs in there anyway, so I don't know whether this pure, precious, unassuming cinnamon roll of a song will have room to slip into the top 10 without the bolder, more fan-hyped stuff getting in the way. We can hope though. So, I have been, and will continue to be, Tessellating Hexagons. And to Ieva, and to the rest of the team, to Lithuania, I say very good luck to you, and I hope that you get what you deserve in May in Lisbon. See you then.